Hey y'all, it's Darla with Growing Tropical. Well, guess where I'm not today? I am not at our vacation rental property out in Cortez, Florida. You guys, it has been a long year actually. Back in February, Robin and I purchased a vacation rental property out in Cortez, and we are just super thrilled with everything that we have done with this house. It was a 1955 cottage style home, and we basically gutted it and went in there and just put our little signature touches on there. And now we rent it out on an Airbnb, and we're absolutely loving it. And so far everything is going really well. For those of you who follow my channel, you have seen that I have released a few videos of the property out there. I really wish that I would have gotten more, but I was a little concerned that being a gardening channel, that maybe my followers would not want to see that. But most of you said yes, you definitely wanted to see that part of our world. So anyway, I started showing you guys little snippets here and there, of the property and the things that we were doing. I do still have, more footage that I'd like to get out to you. However, a lot of things have kind of come to a little bit of a screeching halt. The property is being rented out right now, but a couple of different things. First of all, early in the summer, I should say midsummer, we found out that we had termites in our personal home. So that made Robin and I kind of stop and just kind of reanalyze everything that we were doing. And we had to basically prep our personal home for the termite, for tenning. I don't know if any of you guys have had tenning, but I got to tell you, I don't wish it on my worst enemy. There is a lot of prep work. And for me, it was the outside of the home that really just crushed me, because it took a lot of my plants. It's a situation where when you have to go around the perimeter of your house, well, you do have to go around the perimeter of your house. You have to pull away any rock, you have to pull away any of the mulch, you have to pull away plants, and a lot of the things that are around our property are, they're hugging our walls here, because our property is very lush with a lot of tropicals and such. One of the main things that really upset me was all my window boxes. My window boxes were so beautiful, and unfortunately, we probably could have taken the window boxes off the wall, but when Robin and I, we talked about doing that. And when we got to, kind of really talking about it and whether or not we were going to really seriously take those window boxes off, we thought to ourselves, you know what? Whenever we mess with something that is in the walls, whether it be like with an anchor or, a bolt, anything that, goes on the wall like that, when you take it out, putting it back can be kind of tricky. And a lot of times, it just never goes back in right. And these window boxes, like the one that's behind me right here, they get so heavy with the dirt that we were just kind of afraid that if we took these window boxes off, we were not going to be able to get them in as securely as what they are. So needless to say, I made a judgment call, and I said, you know what? We're just going to go ahead and let what's in there, and then once the tin is off, I will go in there and I will pull everything out and I'll just start all over. And that just about broke my heart, because this window box that's behind me right here had some beautiful things in it. And so much so that I was debating whether or not I wanted to actually pull those things out, set them aside, and then put them back in. But I didn't do that. Time was of the essence for us, and so we just said, okay, we can only prep what we can prep, and then we'll just put back together what we need to put back together. So that is where I'm at today. I am at our personal home rebuilding these window boxes, and I'm going to start with the one that is actually in this front walkway. But I digress a little bit. Back to what I was originally saying. Once we got through all the termite stuff, then along comes Hurricane Idalia. And that was another little, snafu that we were not expecting to happen. Even though Robin and I knew purchasing out where we purchased property was in a flood zone, where a zone A, it's about the highest you can go. We knew there were certain risks that come, with that, buying that property. But we thought to ourselves, when Hurricane Idalia came, it was like, okay, well, let's, go ahead and prep the house. Just to exacerbate the situation of Hurricane Idalia, it was also what they called a king tide, I believe. I think I've got that right. So that was new to me. I really never experienced anything like that. Rightfully so, because our personal home is not in a flood zone, so we do not worry about like flooding. Robin and I usually prep our personal home for wind. And so having this house out here, this vacation rental property, our whole brain just kind of turned upside down, because it's like, okay, now we have to prep for this storm surge, this king tide that's going to be coming through. And we did, for the most part, Robin and I talked to a lot of the neighbors, did just a lot of, Googling and stuff, and just to figure out exactly what we needed to do to secure, that home the best way we knew how. And I'm glad that we did. We did a pretty good job. We got risers and we put everything up on these risers and everything. And again, that is in a video. Mervyn, I'll pop that up, tag it up here on the top of this video, so you guys can click over on that if you haven't seen that video, where it shows everything up on risers. And I'm really glad that we did that, because y'all, we got flooding waters right into the house. And we, based on what we were looking at level wise, where like the debris stopped on the house or whatever, we could determine that it came up anywhere from 5 to 7 inches on the outside of the house. And those waters did come in. Fortunately, the best that we can tell, we didn't get any permanent damage. We did lose our refrigerator, because the refrigerator, I'm getting bit by mosquitoes out here. The refrigerator was not on a riser. It was one of the only things that we did not put up on a riser. And I'm not entirely sure why Robin and I didn't put it up on risers, other than maybe I think we were thinking, well, number one, we probably won't get water. That's probably what our first initial thought was in our brain. Well, we probably won't get water. We're prepping here, we're doing our due diligence, but we probably won't get water. And then the second thing was the refrigerator was quite heavy, and trying to get it up on those risers and everything. So anyway, needless to say, we didn't put the refrigerator up on those risers. And in hindsight, now we would have done that. And if this happens again, and I'm sure that it will when it comes to being having a storm surge, every hurricane season, we're learning now how to get in front of things and what we need to do. Like I said, there was no permanent damage in there. I was very, very glad that we were able to get right into the house. We didn't lose electricity, so the air conditioners continued going. That kept the humidity out. Also, it kept out the mold and the mildew. So needless to say, the property is back up. We got in there and just went crazy, got everything cleaned up, got everything dried out. And we had like 3 days after the storm before we were renting it out again. So we really had no choice other than to cancel, and that wasn't really an option for us. So anyway, that property is doing really well. Back on the home front, everything is falling apart. We had it under control for a while until the termite tent, and then we basically just kind of lost control of so many things. So y'all, I am going to be putting together in this video my first fall planter box, as well as just rebuilding this planter box. I was hoping, that before we found out that we had the termites, I was really hoping, and the way it was looking before, and I really wish that I would have taken pictures. I did not take pictures of what this box looked like. It was gorgeous. I found the perfect plants to put in that front window box, and I will continue duplicating that. Now, there's going to be one small change for the fall box. Last year when I put things in there, I started with Macho Ferns. They are absolutely gorgeous, and I will show you those in just a few minutes. And I had caladium bulbs in there, and the combination was absolutely beautiful. And I will be duplicating that again come February and March next year. But this year, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and duplicate the Macho Ferns, okay? But I'm going to put something a little more fall-ish in there by using crotons. Let me go ahead and show you how beautiful these Macho Ferns are. Hold on one second and I'll grab them for you. Check these out. These are absolutely gorgeous. You guys, these are just, these are gorgeous ferns that actually, they're so universal. They go with everything in a tropical type gardening style. They are lush. They grow in sun. They grow in shade. They love to be watered. They love to be fertilized. And here's the beautiful part of the Macho Fern. Whenever we get like, chilly here, cooler here than like say maybe we get a frost or something like that, or it just temperatures just go down below, the 40-degree mark here in South Florida. What I like to be able to, or what I like about this plant so much is I can basically take it and I can just scissor it straight across, just straight across. and within a few months, it is back looking lush and gorgeous, and I love that. I absolutely love that. I don't have to dig it all up. It looks a little sore, you know, but for the most part, it's just something. Usually my ferns, if they're in containers or even if they're in, you know, the garden beds or whatever, there's other things around that kind of camouflage or whatever until it does rejuvenate itself. I know you guys are probably thinking, Darla, that fern is absolutely huge. You're going to put that huge fern, and I've got 3 of them, you're going to put that huge fern into that small window box? And my answer is yes, I am going to do that. And this is the reason why. Normally, I would not say go out and buy the largest fern that you can find and put it in a tiny little window box like this. Not that this is really tiny, but it is very narrow. But my brain is like, when just before we lost this box to that tent, that termite tent, the ferns in there were almost this size. I mean, they were literally coming up into the window like this. They were probably just maybe about, I don't know, 5-6 inches shorter. But for the most part, they were up and they were large and in charge. And y'all, they looked so beautiful. They really, really did. And I want that back. I want to duplicate that again. I want this to look really nice. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and plant these larger Macho Ferns into that window box. I'm going to cram them. Trust me, they will do fine, because ferns as a rule, whether it be the Australian sword fern, Kimberly Queens, the Macho Ferns, any of those type of ferns, as a rule, in my experience, they love to grow into almost like a compacted, no, I shouldn't say that. That's the wrong term. Not compacted soil, but what would be the term? Almost root bound, if you will. They do really, really well in a root bound situation. Hence the fact that when they are like, you know, they're huge and you want them to rejuvenate, you just scissor them across and then they just, you know, they grow again. Lots of water, you know, a little bit of fertilizer on there, and they rejuvenate year after year after year. So I'm not really worried about cramming them into this tiny little spot, because I know that through experience that they will do just fine. So then the other thing that I'm going to be using that I think will pair really well, and it'll give it that fall vibe, are the crotons. Let me grab that for you and show you the croton. Okay, I have 2 of them because I'm going to be putting 3 of the Macho Ferns into the window box, and then I'm going to put 2 of these beautiful, beautiful crotons. Now, y'all, for those of you who follow my channel, you know that I love crotons. They are one of my favorite and one of the staple plants that I grow around here in my garden. Now, these are, I believe these are just, let's see what it says on here. This is a Petra croton. I have some Petra, I have some Mamie, I have, what else do I have? I think I have Mr. Freckles out there. I have, I have a mother and daughter. I didn't have one for the longest time, but I finally have a mother-daughter croton. So I have quite a few, and there's a painter's brush. I think that's what it was called, was a painter's brush or something like that. Anyway, I have one of those as well. So anyway, I thought going ahead and just bringing a little fall up here on the front porch with this beautiful croton. So y'all, what I'm going to do is go ahead and get started. I'm going to just kind of wash this porch off because it's really dirty from the hurricane. Because here at our personal home, you know, while we didn't get any flooding waters or anything, we did get, you know, tropical storm winds. You know, we didn't fortunately get any kind of damage or anything like that this time, and I'm very, very glad that we didn't. I feel very fortunate. But we got a lot of just, you know, debris and just dirt and, you know, So I've got a little bit of cleaning to do up on this front porch, and then I'm going to go ahead and get started planting up this box. And then what we'll do is we'll come back together and we'll take a look at it, and I'm hoping that it's going to look as good in that window box as it does in my brain. So okay, let's go ahead and get started planting the box up. Okay, y'all, I think I have fallen in love all over again. This window box is absolutely gorgeous, and I was so happy as I was putting it together. And even though these Macho Ferns that I put in here are enormous, they are jumbo, they're not a whole lot bigger than what they were before I lost them to the termiting. And so anyway, I am just, I'm thrilled. One of the main differences in this window box versus the other one is the petrocrotons that I have. I have two of them that are right in here, and they just give it that little fall vibe that it needed. Although I do love the caladiums, and the caladiums would have been absolutely beautiful in here because in South Florida they still continue to grow right through until we start getting our first like cool snap, which is usually like, my gosh, I've had a lot of mine in containers grow right, October and November, and then they start getting a little leggy looking. But I think this box looks gorgeous. I am so happy. It is just kind of making this walkway look human again, and so it just made my heart feel so good being able to do this. So I hope that you guys enjoyed watching this come together, and I hope you're enjoying the content of my videos. And if you are, I sure would appreciate a thumbs up. And this Florida girl is going to put it to bed. I went in just a little bit ago to get some napkins to wipe my face. It is about 8 o'clock at night, and it is 76% humidity and 83 degrees. So I am just, I've had sweat dripping into my eyes, but you know what? It feels so good when I can put together stuff like this. So you guys, we'll plan on seeing you in the next video. Bye for now.